process of recovering one of my caches. It's been out there for about 4 years now, and now it needed some maintenance. Usually what I do on my caches is when they need maintenance, they get upgrades. So this is a multi-cache, and in the first stage, the geocacher will find this little sword. I handcrafted it myself, specifically for this cache. And now I have this mechanism that will open the door, but you need the sword. So the mechanism works like this. You get the sword, you insert it there, the sword will slide in, it will push that lever up, and that lever will pull this little cable and it will open the latch like that. I'm setting up a couple of twists so it won't be that easy to insert the sword. I'm gonna have a blocker here. I will be setting up this sliding latch. It will be in the way of the sword. You won't get the sword through. There will be a hidden compartment on the side. The geocacher will have to pull it out, slide this over, and only then you can insert the sword. Obviously, when this is put together, maybe it'll look different and sound different. And right now, this is the concept, this is the idea, and let's see how it turns out. Glad I can share my ideas. So right now the container has had some significant upgrades. I have added this little fence in the front and on this side. They're not just here for show, they have a purpose. I have put in the blocker. The whole opening mechanism is fully functional. The geocacher finds the container and they'll have in his possession the sword that he found on the first stage. And now you get to the cache and you observe the cache, but really there isn't a spot where to insert the sword. This is where you have to examine the container carefully. When you observe the front and you observe the side, the twist is right here. So if you touch all these little fence type looking things, you'll notice this one moves. So what you have to do is you slide that one out, and now you have your hole to insert the sword. When you insert it, it doesn't go in any further. Why? Because I have that blocker right there. This is where the geocacher has to think, observe the cache once more. If you go here on this side, you'll notice there's a little cut right there. And this is where you pull out this side of the fence. And by pulling out the side of the fence, you have removed the blocker. And now the sword can go in and it'll open the latch up here. That opens the door. The blocker right there, I've also added this little piece of wood that has a magnet on that side, and the blocker has a little screw so that when you slide it in, it holds on to the magnet so it doesn't accidentally slide out in case you're fiddling with the sword back and forth and it accidentally opens on that side. Because initially I tried this, and if I were to do this movement, the blocker would slide open. This way, with the magnet, it does not open. That's the idea, and that's the concept of getting into this container. There is another twist to this cache, but I won't show it yet because it's not done. The inside of the cache will have a box, and that's where the other twist will be.
So, as an owner, you always have to consider and think about the longevity of the container. So protecting the wood is essential when it's outside facing the elements. When all the components inside the container were painted and weather treated, it was time to start assembling and putting things together. At this point, everything was fully functional, and now it was time to add some embellishments to the container. I not only like to have them functioning well, but I also like for them to have an appealing look and fit well into the story or the theme I'm going for. All the painting and engraving were time consuming, but I enjoyed the end result. In this video I didn't mention a whole lot about the box, and I wound up not having a lot of video on it, but I'll talk about it a bit more on the video related to this geocaching adventure. As mentioned before, I like to have my containers follow a theme, and from this point on, all that was left to do was to give it the finishing touches. For the roof, I used some electrical pipe and cut it down to make it look like roof tiles. It took forever to get the roof done. Very tedious job. So as you can see, this wasn't the full build. That would be a video for hours, but a general overview of what goes into building something like this. In the game of geocaching, we don't build it for ourselves, but for the enjoyment of others. Hope you enjoyed this video, and soon I'll release the walkthrough of the adventure related to this build. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of the video, and see you on the next one.